Uh, Having a good understanding about geomancy before you start practicing it will give you a better edge over other practitioners in geomancy. But when you just learn the corridors and few other things and you start practicing it, you might be making some mistakes. However, in this particular video, I want to show you some key points or some sharp points that when you see them, it eases your explanation. It makes your interpretation easier to understand or interpret without having to go far and wide because before you can give a meaningful interpretation. So in this interpretation, I want to use this particular chart to explain one of the key things in divination interpretation, that when those things is seen, it's easier to it makes your work or interpretation easy to go about. Taking for instance now, like the example I want to make out in this video. Let me first of all point out something. This particular video is just for practical sake or for explanation sake, not for any serious intention something, because this chart I didn't check if it has space or not. I just cast it for this explanation sake. There are times you cast a chart whereby you want to determine if a journey will be good or not. If a journey will be good or not, or if you should start a journey, if you should commence a journey, or you should do things related to that. I want to believe that before you cast a chart related to that, I want to believe that you already have your corridor, or you already have your method or your way of doing it. I'm not here to challenge that your method, but I want to add some extra things to your understanding. Because there are certain things in geometry, certain placement, and that when they are found on a particular places on the chart, even if your corridor or your understanding says something contrarily, you might get a contrary result, and that usually explains some of the things that usually happen when you interpret a chart the way you normally interpret it, and at the end of the day you might get it wrong. There are times that some people will come for you for a a divination something, and you will do it the way you have been doing it. You use the corridor that you have been using, and all of a sudden the person or the current case will be different from others that you have been doing. You cast a chart the way you have been doing it, everything has been working fine. Because sometimes once in a while you just find out that so there are things that usually causes such things. And because there are some placement on the chart, once you see them, you don't need to disturb yourself too much than to just give a direct answer, because they have given you the one. Just like people, the astrologists, once they are, don't let me go into that, but let me just give you some cases. There are some things that once you have seen them, you don't need to progress too much, you don't need to deep too far or deep, you don't need to dig too long. So there are placements, a figure, once they are finding certain area, there's some figure when they find it. So one of them is what I want to discuss in this video, that whenever you are casting or divining for things that has to do with journey, and you find those placements or you find those things, this is the answer. You don't need to bother yourself about what the corridor say or whatever the method. But if you don't find those things, what I want to mention, if you don't find it, then you proceed with your normal way of interpretation, your normal way of checking whatever you want to do. But if you find this one I'm about to say, that is otherwise, your this thing might. So these are just like things you should take conscious of. So that sometimes once in a while you won't be getting it wrong. So without prolonging this too much, let me let me go straight to the point. But I want to believe you have understood the purpose of this chart. It's just to show you some key things that once they are found in some place. So let's say in a chart related to the movement, journey or movement, journey or movement, moving from one place to another, or traveling or something. When a chart is casted for that, when we are trying to see if the journey, anything related to journey, if you should do it or this or that, either journey or movement. Look at this figure here. It's called Ijitimahi, which is conjunction 2112. Ijitimahi conjunction. Once this figure is found here and it's repeated in houses, When this figure ejiti which is also known as what conjuncture in Latin or in Western geomancy. In Eastern geomancy we call it what ejiti. So if it's found in house 2, sorry, this is not house 2. If it is found in house 3 and it repeat in house 6, that two placement, regardless of whatever your coida is, it means the journey is not good. Don't dare it. Anything related to journey or movement, moving from one place to another or traveling from one place to another, if you find these two placements on the chart, you find it in house 3 and repeat in house 6, don't bother to. And there are some things he just advise that, well, you should go for another one or something. Maybe you want to travel somewhere or something, or you are trying to go a particular place. Either you postpone it or you do another, look for another place to go. So that is just the basic thing. That two placement is one of the key pointers that one should always be conscious of in a chart related to journey. Thank you very much. May God bless you miraculously.